This car was created by the company, built by founder RJ Scaringe. It's hard enough to build any kind of company like your typical software startup, but can you imagine the pain it takes to build something as complicated as a car? Rivian first came out with a truck version of this called the R1T. This is the R1S, first introduced in 2022. This SUV is really impressive, and in this video, I'm gonna talk about whether or not it's worth buying one of these, especially compared to a Tesla. I'm sure you're sick of Teslas, as are most people on the planet because they're everywhere. But because I own a Tesla right now, I can't help myself but compare this one to what I own, which is a Model S. Even though I own a sedan version of the Tesla, you can just imagine that it's a Model X, which would be a better comparison with this R1S. You can tell that Rivian drew a lot of inspiration from Tesla, so it's a natural comparison between these two companies, and both of them started from nothing. There's no question that Tesla's innovation was pioneering, but here you have Rivian, which is also groundbreaking in many ways. Let's start with the key fob, which is really cool, and they've made it really easy to attach more keys. This front-end design has been around for a couple years now, but I still can't get used to this weird shape of the headlights up front. I would much prefer the light bar that goes all the way across. Like the Cybertruck, if Rivian did the same thing with the light bar, I think it would look so much cooler. In my opinion, the car would look much more modern and futuristic with just that horizontal bar. Rivian has put a lot of thought into its look. I love the boxy design as well as the logo. All of it fits together real well. They did get the rear taillight right though. This horizontal bar is exactly what it should have been up front. The R1S does look rugged, and it will indeed be adventurous forever. The Rivian took a few parts of the Tesla and improved on it. The first is with the cameras on the outside. In the Tesla, the camera is inside of a big housing. In the Rivian, it's nicely blended into the front wheel well. Also, Rivian did the thing I really wish Tesla had done, which is have a power-operated front hood. Simply tap this icon to open up the hood, and then tap it to close it. That's amazing. You no longer have to push down and try to force this thing shut. If you're gonna make life easy with technology, go all the way like Rivian is doing. There's another cool feature. Tap this one to turn on the side view mirror lights. This is a pretty complicated contraption just to be able to open the charge port. This R1S comes with over 500 horsepower and this is powered by a bunch of batteries. This is the dual motor variant, so you get 533 horsepower, 610 pound-feet of torque. But since Tesla started the trend with the Plaid with over 1,000 horsepower, so does this. It comes with the quad motor variant that can give you over 1,000 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. I love horsepower wars. With electric vehicles, you can never have too much power. What's one of the most impressive things about this Rivian is the build quality. It's absolutely excellent, way better than what I have in my Tesla. Check out my video where I show you all of the issues with my Tesla Model S Plaid. The quality of this Rivian is fantastic, and it matches the price that you're gonna pay for it. This is a high-end luxury SUV, and the interior feels that way. This trim on the dash looks really nice. And you have tons of space like this large area right here. Cup holders that are nicely stowed away. I like how they designed the interface of the climate control vents. You can move them by moving around this icon, and you can physically see how the vents are moving. This is all hidden in the Tesla, so you don't see the same thing. You can move the vents on the side as well. The Tesla screen is slightly bigger. The interface is slightly smoother, but this one is good enough. This is what the R1S looks like at the highest ride height. It goes up pretty high. This is at the lowest setting. Both the R1T and the R1S were built with off-roading and adventure in mind, so you have the all-terrain option and plenty of metrics to monitor as you're hitting the trails. The seats are great with the nice-looking Rivian logo that's embedded. There's no question that this is an off-roader at heart, but this has also got plenty of luxury, including a nice digital interface in the back. These are some nice-looking door pockets and a place to hang your coat and charge your phone. The most ridiculous thing about this R1S is you have third row seats, but they're basically impossible to use. For anyone to fit back there, you have to pull up your seat And if you're any taller than what I am, 5'10", you're just not gonna be able to fit. And at this setting, let's see what it looks like back there. Still no room. Move it up all the way, and then you can squeeze back in there. Even for small kids, being back here will be so claustrophobic and nightmarish. If you do want to use the third row, then you have another problem, which is that you barely have any space in the back. The best thing you can do is put the third row seats down, and all of a sudden, this is a true utility vehicle. If you really need to haul around more passengers than just 5, then have them sit like this. Way more comfortable that way. One really brilliant feature is you can pump your tires full of air from this panel right here. Flip this open, turn it on, and you have a regular outlet to plug in stuff. Additional storage underneath this. The one thing this Rivian R1S has is a lot of character. There's yellow in the logo, yellow in the headrest inserts, and a yellow logo in the headlights too. This is just a base model. If you go onto their website, you could probably find so many different trim levels and customizations to pick from. Really nice panoramic roof here, just like I have in my Tesla. Tesla inspired mechanisms to adjust the steering wheel and the side mirrors. This works the same way as it does in my Tesla. It's always nice to have dual screens, one in front of you and the main one. The one area where Rivian has a lot of catching up to do is with self-driving. This one only has basic driving assistance. You have the standard fare technology that's in every new car these days. Nothing special here. Apparently, there's a Rivian autonomy platform coming out in 2025. I'm sure Rivian has full autonomous driving as part of its plan. It's just that right now, it's pretty far behind Tesla. All the cameras are there, just the software needs to be updated. You have a lot of room in the front, made even more usable with a shelf that splits the space in half. What I appreciate about this Rivian right away is it has actual stocks. I can use the signal like any other car. I also like the fact that it has park reverse neutral drive in this stock on the right side. As great as the Tesla technology is, I just don't like the fact that I have to use signals on the steering wheel. It's just much more intuitive just to be able to flip these stocks the way you need them to. But this is a really nice SUV, just as luxurious as you might expect. The drive and the ride are incredibly smooth, and even the dual motor is good enough for this. Over 500 horsepower, 600 pound-feet of torque, enough to get this thing moving from 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Sure, having a quad motor with over 1,000 horsepower would be a ton of fun, but if you're getting this for some level of practicality off-roading, the power is not going to be an issue on this one. The screen in the front is very much like what I have in my Tesla. You can see the different views of the cars. And even though this is not a self-driving car, you can tell by what you see visually that it will get there in the near future. I like that when you turn on your signal, you see it in your front display, whether it's the left one or the right one. In my Tesla, all of it is in the center display. I would much prefer it to be right in front of my eyes. But everything's smooth, quiet, just like you would expect. And you can change your ride settings to have it be firm or soft. One thing to note in this R1S though is that at higher speeds, especially at freeway speeds, you're gonna hear more wind noise that you might expect. At low speeds, no problem at all. But 70 miles and higher, there's definitely wind rush noises that get in. But other than that, very smooth, quiet, great seats. You have a highly capable off-roading vehicle that will be just as fine on the streets and provide you with tons of comfort. Judging by how good the R1S is, I would pick this over the Tesla because it's unique, the quality is better, and even if the technology is not quite there, I'm sure they're gonna get there soon. And if you think about it, this is only the first SUV that they've built. They have the R1T truck, but they have the R3 that's coming up, the R2. They have so many cars that are gonna come out in the future. Based on my experience with this Rivian, I think we're gonna see a lot of good stuff to come out of this company in the coming years.